Welcome to the respiratory system. The major function of the respiratory system is breathing. It fills the blood with the oxygen that your body needs to survive. There are many parts to the respiratory system. The epiglottis is a little flap that moves back and forth over the larynx to make sure food doesn't reach the lungs. This is why you can't eat and breathe at the same time. The trachea is the tube that connects the larynx and the bronchial tubes together. It's also known as the windpipe. The bronchial tubes connect the trachea to the lungs. The two largest tubes are the bronchi, the small ones are bronchioles, and they're all referred to as bronchial tubes. Which brings us to the lungs. The lungs are air sacs that swell up to take in oxygen and deflate to push out carbon dioxide.
Fun fact interjection!
You get hiccups when your diaphragm moves because it's irritated. The diaphragm is a flat sheet of muscle that contracts and relaxes to help the lungs take in oxygen. The heart, which is part of the circulatory system as well as the respiratory system, pumps the oxygen-filled blood to the body. The heart also sends the carbon dioxide back to the lungs.
Fun fact interjection!
As your heart grows, it pushes against the left lung, forming the cardiac notch. The pharynx simply connects the nasal cavity to the larynx. It splits into two tubes, the larynx, which is part of the respiratory system, and the esophagus, which goes into the stomach. The larynx contains the vocal cords, which vibrate to produce sound.
Fun fact interjection!
The larynx is also known as the Adam's apple, which is also known as the voice box. The skeletal system is very important to the respiratory system. The rib cage surrounds the lungs to protect them from impact. There are many steps that have to happen for you to breathe. First, you take in oxygen. Both the nose and the mouth take air in, but the nose filters the air before it moves on. The diaphragm contracts and flattens. The ribs are also pushed out to make room for the expanding lungs. The air travels into the pharynx and then the larynx. The larynx leads into the trachea, also known as the windpipe, and contains the vocal cords responsible for sound. After passing through the trachea, it enters the bronchi and bronchial tubes. At the end of each tube are alveoli. Air passes through these tiny air sacs into blood vessels called capillaries. The process of removing carbon dioxide or breathing out is about the same, but everything moves in the opposite direction. CO2 passes through the capillaries into the alveoli and out of the nose. The diaphragm relaxes and the rib cage moves back to its original position. One disease of the respiratory system is bronchitis. The bronchial tubes swell up, making it harder to breathe. There are two kinds of bronchitis. Acute bronchitis is when a different infection, like a cold, spreads into the lungs. It usually lasts about a week. However, chronic bronchitis is much more serious. Constantly being exposed to smoke and pollution can scar the lungs. They scar from the mucus made by your airways, which are trying to get rid of the infection. Vocal cords are important for sound, but they also open to let you breathe. Vocal cord paralysis happens when the signals from your brain don't reach the vocal cords properly. Without the signals, the vocal cords can't move.
Fun fact interjection!
Yawns occur when lungs don't receive enough oxygen.
Fun fact interjection!
Your lungs are not hollow. They are filled with tubes called bronchi or bronchial tubes.